Let's say I'm playing the purchaser of the bread and I approach you as a manufacturer. Mr. Lee, you can do business with me, but you have to offer me a very, very good price. You see, there are 5 other guys that want to get my business. If you don't offer me the right price, I will not do business with you. What do you expect you're going to get?
So are your customers the light distribution companies, or are they more the entrepreneurs like the fast food restaurant owner?
Mostly most of our customers are either system integrators that are actually installing the light, because the fast food owner normally is not an electrician that sets up the power cord, but he's hiring somebody to do this.
Right.
And a lot of the entrepreneurs that we are dealing with are those people that have a specific group of customers, and they already learned that what they do today is not ideal for their customers. And then there are these guys that are willing to take going the extra mile and designing something that actually solves their customer's problem. And those ones we like to help with manufacturing the problem, not manufacturing the problem, manufacturing the product that solves that problem, or to help them to choose a product and adapt it in a way that it delivers value to their customers.
So they know that standard lighting is not going to work.
Yeah.
They know they need a custom solution, but they're just not quite sure what that is or how to go about it. And then they talk to you.
Yes, that's one way. Or they have an idea, but they don't have the supply chain ready to turn this around. That's when we get involved.
Okay.
Often the case, you have to understand, if you're a general lighting seller, a retail store, like a big Swedish furniture retail chain that is also selling a lot of lights, what are their intentions?
They want to make money.
Yes, and how do they make money?
They want to sell a light that will probably fail in a year.
No, not in a year, because at least in Europe they have to offer 2 years of warranty.
Okay,
So better 2.5 years.
2.5 years.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that they are purposely making it so 2.5 years, but let's say it's not beneficial for them if their light source works for 10 years.
Right.
Now coming back to the shop window, which is the light is on every day, every evening for a couple hours, that's a very different use case than the average Joe that comes home after work and has a light on for an hour or two before he turns on the TV. Then the lifetime requirement is quite different. And then you have to choose something else. But it's often not accessible for the people that deal with it, because they don't think about it.
Right.
But they will become angry when it fails or flickers.
Because I can imagine myself, if I were an entrepreneur and I needed to install a light, I'd probably skip the cheapest one. I'd probably go with maybe something in the mid-range, but I wouldn't think too much about it. I would just think, yeah, this price should be pretty solid. But I'm also curious, how much awareness is there among the customers that they need to go through this complex special lighting process?
Well, the problem is with what your approach you just described, picking up a mid-range product because you think it might be better.
That's how I would approach it if I didn't know somebody like you.
Well, yeah, but probably your approach is quite common.
Yeah.
But it's a bit like buying wine in the supermarket.
I have no idea how to buy wine. I have this problem as well.
Okay, good. So there's a very cheap wine, and you'll probably expect this cheap wine to be not that great. And there's very expensive wine. And then there's the mid-range wine. But which mid-range wine is really good, or which really fits the taste that goes along with your meal? And it's a bit similar to lighting. Picking up the correct technology, even people that have been working in the industry for long term are not necessarily well positioned to make that call. Because the ingredient that drives the reliability, usually I would say for LED type, comes down to 2 major factors. One is the phosphor chemical that's in the LED chip. And second is the quality and design quality of the power supply driving it. And neither of the two are advertised in any way.
Are the lighting suppliers responsible for these two things?
Yes, but then again, coming down to the typical way the industry is structured, I say more than 90% of the light sources, of the average general lighting light sources now come from mainland China.
Right.
And are manufactured by companies that are not selling them themselves. So there's a natural conflict of interest between the end user, the manufacturer, and the distributor.
So even in China, the distributors are not the manufacturers. That's how the industry is structured?
Now, the distributor in the West is not the manufacturer.
Oh, right.
The brand is not the manufacturer.
Right. Okay. And then the manufacturers in China, are they putting equal amount of focus on the power supply part?
Yes, but with a different goal.
So what is their goal?
Minimize the cost,
Right.
maximizing their margin. The reliability of the power supply is not their highest concern.
Because they want to save money.
And they sell more the earlier it breaks. So their interest is counterintuitive to your needs as an end customer.
So what is the general way of working for these Chinese manufacturers? As an American, generally speaking, we want to have long-term relationships with our customers. So we wouldn't sell something like a power supply that would break down pretty quickly. Do you think the Chinese, not to generalize towards anyone, but do you think generally speaking, Chinese manufacturers have the same long-term business attitude?
I would say for the Chinese manufacturer, who's the customer? It's not you, it's the brand. It's always the person that pays the money.
Right.
That's the customer. So it will depend mainly on two. One, how the brand that is buying the product from the manufacturer is specifying it, and how they set up the verification. And then the second one is the management team of the manufacturer, is towards their attitude towards the brand. So I give you an example. Let's say I'm playing the purchaser of the brand, and I approach you as a manufacturer and say, Mr. Lee, you can do business with me, but you have to offer me a very, very good price. You see, there are 5 other guys that want to get my business. If you don't offer me the right price, I will not do business with you. What do you expect you're going to get?
Yeah, they're going to...
You get a good price, you're not going to get a reliable product.
Right.
Okay? But then again, I could also approach you and say, look, Mr. Lee, I need a product. I don't want to see more than 2% failures in 5 years. Yeah? And if I do see them, I'm not going to give you any more business in the future. And then I still need a reasonable price and everything. So, is it the fault of the manufacturer? Or is it the fault of the purchaser?
Right.
And normally the Chinese actually, most of them will do exactly what they are being told to do.
Right.
But who tells them? It's not you as the end customer.
Yeah. So it really comes down to the purchaser and how they give the requirements to the manufacturer.
Yes. And I have to say, since we have a very quarterly profit-driven culture, especially in the West, the next quarter profit is more important than the customer needs 3 years down the road, because the manager may no longer be in that location. Well, we understand which priorities usually survive first. But this is exactly what is a general problem in this industry. I see an opportunity for us and the entrepreneurs that are willing to take that extra step to solve their customers' needs. And I have to say, in Europe, where we have a lot of medium-sized companies that are very good in their specific niches, they tend to, in order to survive for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, they know that this short-term profit comes at a price over the long term. And those guys tend to be our customers or preferred customers to deliver long-term value.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was watching a documentary about Bernard Arnault from LVMH.
Yeah.
Number 2 richest guy in the world.
Yeah.
And what I love about his story is he's selling something that is made in Italy, made with craftsmanship, made of leather, something that will last a lifetime.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's number 2 richest guy in the world means that there is genuine demand for expensive things that last forever. Meanwhile, there are so many entrepreneurs or let's say big corporations that are playing the other game, which is cheap, quick, fast, profit in the short term. So I really like this long-term thinking, and I talk about Bernard Arnault because it's a benchmark. It's showing that there is a demand for this if you are willing to go through the trouble of manufacturing something very, very well, right?
Well, I mean, let's be realistic. There's a lot of brand awareness about it, and it's the image that LVM is giving with the value. I mean, the product value is the product price and what it's sold is, there's a huge disparity. But I give you another example. Since I have been traveling between Europe and Asia for many, many years, I'm often asked by my Asian counterparts, they say, wow, you in Germany must be so rich. The taxis are all Mercedes-Benz. How can that be? Because the Mercedes-Benz is a very expensive car in Asia, mostly because of import duties. And then I tell them, you know what? You know why they drive Mercedes-Benz? Because it's cheaper. What? How come? I said, well, an average taxi is driving 150,000 kilometers a year. And Mercedes-Benz offers them 4-year full warranty. So their engine is going to last for an E-Class 600,000 kilometers. Tell me which typical car will give you 600,000 kilometer warranty on the first engine.
Yeah, almost none. Yeah.
Almost none. But Mercedes does it. And why can they do it? They would have gone bankrupt if their quality wouldn't be right?
Why can they do it? Because the cars are solid.
Their cars are solid, and they have spent decades of engineering effort to solve all those little issues that led to a breakdown of the car. And that's a brand behind Mercedes-Benz, that if you buy a Mercedes-Benz, yes, you spend more in the beginning, but you're going to have a reliable car that you can sell for a reasonable value over the lifetime, 20, 25 years of your car. You're not going to lose the value. So they actually deliver value which is associated with the brand. And the similar behavior also exists in niche markets.
Right.
But it is exactly the situation. You need to understand what is the need of your customer. So I give you the opposite example. Like my daughter. She wants to have a dress for the next party. And she has limited budget because daddy hasn't given her enough pocket money. Right? So where is she going to go? She's going to go to H&M or Zara.
Yeah.
Picks up the next fashionable thing. She's going to look good on the next TikTok and the next party. And the job's done. Do we care how long that clothes needs? No, she won't. So H&M and Zara have identified their target audience and offer a good product. Probably made in Bangladesh or wherever, but they serve that market.
So your customers, I mean, they're a very specific kind of customer that's long-term thinking.
Yes, and one reason is that we have very limited resources and we do not want to spend our valuable time on solving problems for the short term. We like to solve problems for the long term. That's our company philosophy.